Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 200 based on novel. So let's start. Kaylin's group stood near the altar and stared at Xiao Yang, who had sat for an entire afternoon on the stone chair. Kaylin involuntarily pressed her eyebrows together. This stone tablet appeared extraordinary. The strength contained within it was at a level that even an expert like Yaroming did not dare to underestimate. Although they were always confident in Xiao Yang, their hearts were involuntarily a little worried at this moment. Tribal Chief Yaroming, have the experts from your tribe stayed such a long time when entering this stone tablet? Kaylin finally frowned and asked after waiting a while. Yaroming hesitated for a moment after hearing her question. He shook his head and replied, when the experts from my tribe entered the stone tablet in the past, none of them ever endured for over half an hour. However, Brother Xiao Yang's spiritual strength is unusually powerful. There should not be an accident. The frown on Kaylin's brow deepened when she heard Yaroming's words, but she could only suppress the worry within her heart. She calmed down and waited for Xiao Yang to exit. Another half an hour passed in the blink of an eye as they waited. Kaylin's group could not continue waiting any longer when an intense glow was suddenly emitted from the stone talisman. A soul flew out amid this light and returned to the human figure seated on the stone chair in front of Kaylin's group's joyous eyes. Xiao Yang, who had been seated on the stone chair, suddenly opened his tightly shut eyes. His expression instantly paled as intense coughs racked his body, revealing a frailty. The injuries from receiving the yellow spring divine anger had finally been exposed at this moment. Xiao Yang, are you all right? Kaylin and the other two ladies hurriedly asked after seeing Xiao Yang's expression. I'm fine. The demon Saint Huang Quan's soul fragment was indeed unusually terrifying. Xiao Yang slowly caught his breath. He waved his hand and softly sighed. Brother Xiao Yang, even you cannot deal with that lingering soul fragment. Yaroming exclaimed. His expression changed upon hearing this news. I was lucky enough to barely be victorious. However, the soul fragment inside the stone tablet has disappeared. Xiao Yang softly replied without hiding anything. Bang! The stone tablet in front suddenly emitted a deep sound after Xiao Yang's reply. Everyone could see a mouth shape slowly appear above the finger and palm. A mysterious fluctuation was emitted from that mouth. Yellow spring divine anger. Yaroming was startled after seeing this mouth shape form. He immediately revealed an expression of wild joy as he hurriedly sat down. His spiritual strength quickly spread and touched that mouth shape, but before he could take the information within the mouth, an extremely powerful spiritual assault violently clashed with his soul. This fierce and violent attack caused Yaroming to spit out a mouthful of blood and shoot backwards. Finally, he fell from the towering steps in a miserable fashion. A moment later, he flew up with a miserable-looking body and a somewhat pale face before he landed in front of the strange gazes from Xiao Yang's group. What a frightening spiritual assault. It seems that I have yet to meet the conditions to practice the yellow spring divine anger. Yaroming bitterly laughed because of Xiao Yang's group's strange gazes. He wiped off the trace of blood from the corner of his mouth and regretfully sighed. This Huang Quan stone tablet is indeed strange. The demon saint soul fragment within it has disappeared, yet it still possesses such a might. No one can compare with the ability of demon saint Huang Quan back then. Xiao Yang took out a medicinal pill that healed one's soul from his storage ring. He then stuffed it into his mouth before commenting on the stone. However, there is no need for you to be anxious. The training method for the yellow spring divine anger is carved onto the stone tablet. You can practice it once you reach what it requires in the future. I am currently an advanced 2-star dosheng. If I am unable to practice it with this strength, I do not know just how long it will be before I reach the set requirements. It looks like I do not have any affinity with this yellow spring divine anger. Yaroming sighed and had somewhat abandoned his hopes, but he quickly looked at Xiao Yang with excited eyes. He rubbed his hands together and dryly laughed. Brother Xiao Yang, since you have successfully defeated the soul fragment inside the stone tablet, it is likely that you have obtained the demon saint essence blood, right? Relax. The stone tablet belongs to your 9 serene deep ground python tribe. I will not simply take everything for myself. Xiao Yang faintly smiled as he answered. What is Brother Xiao Yang saying? After all, this is something you risked your life to obtain. I am already satisfied if you shared a little with me. Yaroming replied in embarrassment. Xiao Yang smiled. He clenched his hand and the golden liquid appeared in his palm. The vast and mighty energy that spread from the blood caused the surrounding air to show signs of boiling. Tribal Chief Yaroming, all observers ought to get a share. Kaylin and the other two ladies were also present. You do not have any objections in giving them 3 shares, do you? Xiao Yang held the golden blood and smiled as he asked. The 3 ladies were all 9-star dozuns. Even though they possessed extraordinary talent, it was still not an easy task to reach the Bansheng class. If they were able to obtain the essence blood of demon Saint Huang Quan, who had half a foot in the Do D class, they would save a lot of training time. This opportunity was something that even Xiao Yang had not come across in the past. After all, even Yarrow Larrow did not have the ability to obtain such a mysterious object. Ha, brother Xiao Yang can distribute it as he wishes. Yarrow Ming appeared quite generous. He understood that he would not have been able to get this small share without Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang smiled. He flicked his finger and the ball of golden blood in his hand immediately turned into 4 rays of golden light that shot to Yarrow Ming, Kaylin, and the other 2. They quickly grabbed the blood in a firm and somewhat anxious grip. If word of such a thing spread, even an elite Do Sheng would come to snatch it. The ball of blood in Xiao Yang's palm was merely the size of a thumb after the 4 golden lights separated. However, the energy it contained was still quite terrifying. Xiao Yang merely smiled as he studied this drop of golden blood. Other than this droplet, there was still another droplet of Demon Saint Essence blood within his storage ring. This was something he had prepared for Yarrow Larrow. Currently, Yarrow Larrow was a high-level Ban Sheng. It would not be difficult for him to become a 1-star Do Sheng once he had gained enough energy. This drop of Demon Saint Essence blood would undoubtedly provide the best opportunity to advance. The gains he managed to obtain this time around had far exceeded his expectations. With this drop of Demon Saint Essence blood, I have the confidence to charge into the 3-star Do Sheng class within 3 years. Yarrow Ming happily stored away this Demon Saint Essence blood as he spoke with joy. Xiao Yang smiled after hearing Yarrow Ming's joy. He hesitated for a moment before suddenly saying, "Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming, I actually have a request to make during this trip to the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe." "Oh, brother Xiao Yang, please feel free to speak. You are my savior and you have helped me obtain the Demon Saint Essence blood. Forget about a request, I will agree even if you wish to become the deputy tribal chief of my 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe." Yarrow Ming waved his hand and laughed. We can forget about me becoming a deputy tribal chief," Xiao Yang laughed. His expression quickly became a lot more grave as he briefly explained the matter regarding the ancient Void Dragon tribe. A civil war among the ancient Void Dragon? This is not unexpected. I knew that this would happen sooner or later. Although Yarrow Ming was a little surprised by what Xiao Yang said, he was not extremely shocked. He continued, "If the 3 Dragon Islands were to give a sufficient reward, Yarrow Xiaotian will definitely get the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python to aid them given his character. Now that the tribal chief has changed, there will naturally be a change in the situation. Brother Xiao Yang can feel reassured about this matter. The 9 Serene Deep Ground Python will not help the 3 Dragon Islands." Yarrow Ming patted his chest as he spoke in an extremely decisive voice. Yarrow Xiaotian was only concerned about benefits, but Yarrow Ming saw further than Yarrow Xiaotian. It was still alright if the 3 Dragon Islands were victorious in this war. If they lost, the ancient Void Dragon tribe would definitely drag the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe into the matter, given their character. Although they were one of the 3 great tribes, Yarrow Ming clearly understood in his heart that the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe was no match for the ancient Void Dragons. The ancient Void Dragon tribe had entered a stalemate. However, the Eastern Dragon Island possessed the legendary Dragon Phoenix bloodline. No one could predict the achievements of such an existence. Hence, Yarrow Ming did not hesitate when he heard Xiao Yang's request. Yarrow Xiaotian might think that the 3 Dragon Islands would emerge victorious, but Yap Ming did not share this opinion. However, even if the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe does not intervene, the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will definitely dispatch their experts to aid the 3 Dragon Kings. Yarrow Ming looked at Xiao Yang as he revealed his thoughts. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. The reason he was able to resolve the problem of the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe was completely because of luck. He did not hope that the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe would simply stand idle by the side and watch. If they insist on interfering, I can only take some other actions. Xiao Yang softly replied. He had an extremely good relationship with Zi Yang. Hence, he would not simply watch her be defeated by the 3 Dragon Islands. Why? Has brother Xiao Yang prepared a surprise? Yarrow Ming asked with a smile. His face trembled slightly after hearing those words. Since they wish to dispatch experts to lend a hand, I can only kill all those they have dispatched while they are traveling. Xiao Yang smiled. His eyes glanced to Yarrow Ming as he said, "However, I'm afraid that I will require Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming's help in this matter." "What do you say?" Yarrow Ming revealed an expression contemplation as he pondered some thoughts. He understood that he would be opposing the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe if he agreed. "If we can really resolve this matter, I will use my life to guarantee that the ancient Void Dragon tribe and the 9 Serene Deep Ground Python tribe will be the staunchest allies in the future. At that time, the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will definitely be eliminated from among the 3 great tribes," Xiao Yang softly proclaimed. Yarrow Ming's face of contemplation slowly changed upon hearing these words. No could doubt how strong the ancient Void Dragon tribe was. Even though the tribe had fragmented, the strength of any island would not be weaker than his entire tribe. If it was unified in the future, its strength would be even more terrifying. By being able to become allies with those haughty fellows, the position of the 9 serene deep-ground python in the magical beast world would never be shaken. Yarrow Ming was quiet for a moment before he finally lifted his head. He looked at Xiao Yang and committed himself in a deep voice. If Brother Xiao Yang's guarantee is effective, I, Yarrow Ming, will confidently accompany all of you in this craziness. Hearing this, Xiao Yang's eyes softly gloated in his eye. Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming, I would not dare to speak with such confidence if I could not back up my claim. Xiao Yang laughed. The situation of the Eastern Dragon Island was undoubtedly serious. At this moment, the Eastern Dragon Island would clearly understand how to choose between annihilation and putting aside their pride. I will dispatch some experts from the tribe to observe the actions of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe during this period of time. I will inform Brother Xiao Yang the moment their experts move. Yarrow Ming immediately spoke. He was also an extremely decisive person. Since he had made up his mind, he would not be indecisive in whatever he did. In that case, I will trouble Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming. We will be remaining in the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe during this period of time. Additionally, we might perhaps have to borrow the 9 serene spring. Xiao Yang glanced at Kaylin after mentioning the 9 serene spring. He was planning on using the strength of the 9 serene spring to help Kaylin complete the tempering of her body. Haha, it's a small matter. However, the energy within the 9 serene spring is unusually dark and cold. Brother Xiao Yang should be careful. Yarrow Ming laughed before reminding Xiao Yang about the power of the spring. Since the matter of the stone tablet has been resolved, we should return to the tribe first. One will require some preparations in order to deal with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Yarrow Ming waved his large hand. His body moved as he flew toward the underground network. Xiao Yang's group slowly followed behind him. Yarrow Ming hurriedly made some preparations after returning to the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe. He had only just regained his position. It was likely not going to be easy for him to do something this big immediately, but given his character, he would quickly be able to resolve these matters perfectly. While Yarrow Ming was preparing to deal with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, Xiao Yang's group rested for an entire day. They once again appeared beside the 9 serene spring on the next day. The dark and cold energy contained within the 9 serene spring is lethal to an ordinary expert. However, the 7-colored heaven-swallowing python boasts an extremely dense, dark, and cold aura. It is likely that only you can fearlessly absorb the energy inside. Xiao Yang turned his head to Kaylin. He smiled and spoke to her after glancing at the 9 serene spring with a cold air floating above it. The dark and cold force within the 9 serene spring is extraordinary. Even an expert from the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe would not dare to venture deep into it. However, this is not much of a problem for me. Kaylin faintly smiled. Her tone appeared to be quite proud. Being the only 7-colored heaven-swallowing python in the present world, she was qualified to look down on all snake magical beasts. Xiao Yang smiled. He clenched his hand and a jade bottle appeared in it. A pill cloud lingered within that jade bottle. An extremely powerful energy fluctuation was emitted from the bottle. This is the Great Bodhisattva Return Pill, a Tier 9 treasure pill. It can greatly raise your chances of advancing to the Ban Sheng class. You should consume it at a critical moment. It might help you a lot at that time. Xiao Yang handed the jade bottle to Kaylin as he spoke. Kaylin slightly nodded. She did not reject him. Instead, she extended her hand and received that jade bottle, which contained some warmth. This training will not be smooth. The amount of time it will require will likely be long. I will instruct Yarrow Ming to send some people to guard you if I have to leave and attend to some matters. Kaylin played with the jade bottle in her hand. She was aware that Xiao Yang's group might have to head out to kill the experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe very soon. Hence, she did not make any comments. She rotated her head and suddenly lifted her narrow and long eyes, which contained a bewitching expression. She slowly stepped forward and gently pressed her red lips against Xiao Yang's lips. Xiao Yang felt absent-minded the moment he sensed the sudden softness. His arm reflexively hugged Kaylin's soft, narrow, seemingly boneless waist. That was a true temptation. That enchanting snake waist contained a charm that bewitched all life as it gently shook. The beauty in his embrace gently turned her head after Xiao Yang had become absent-minded because of that gentleness. A soft voice was transmitted into his ear. Be careful. Remember, your life belongs to this queen. Xiao Yang was startled after once again hearing these words that had once been imprinted deep within his soul. He turned his head, only to see the corner of Kaylin's mouth suddenly lift into an enchanting arc. This arc appeared like the final stroke of a masterpiece. It caused the originally gentle woman to suddenly appear cold and strong. In an instant, Kaylin, who had been acting gentle in front of Xiao Yang for so many years, seemed to have become the cold and ruthless Medusa of the past once again. At that time, she had shaken the entire Jiomar Empire and frightened Xiao Yang into worrying all the time. You! Xiao Yang was stunned as Kaylin seemed to turn into a different person. She suddenly smiled more just as he was about to speak. Her lovely body swayed, and she turned into an unusually large 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. This python swung its large tail and charged into the 9 serene yellow spring without turning her head once. A great wave surged. Bubble. The lake water immediately appeared to boil after Kaylin entered the 9 serene yellow spring. It formed countless bubbles. Xiao Yang could sense the energy of the 9 serene spring stir at this moment. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment as he stood beside the 9 serene spring. Finally, he bitterly smiled and recovered. He rubbed his lips as his eyes wandered over the surface of the lake with a somewhat complicated expression. Ever since she had given birth to little Xiao Xiao, Kaylin's character seemed to have become much gentler. She had chosen to obey all of Xiao Yang's request. However, Xiao Yang finally understood that the cold and proud Queen Medusa still existed deep within Cai Lin's bones. She had forced herself to become a good wife and mother because of him and little Xiao Xiao. Compared to you being a good wife and mother, I prefer you to reveal your original character. Xiao Yang looked at the surface of the lake and softly sighed. His body moved, and he appeared on a protruding rock above the deep abyss. After which, he sat down on it. He needed to advance of his strength before heading out to block the experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Yellow Spring Finger, Yellow Spring Palm, Yellow Spring Divine Anger. These 3 Yellow Spring ultimate skills have been inserted into my soul by that Demon Saint's soul fragment. The various things the Demon Saint comprehended while studying these 3 Do skills was included in the information I was given. This kind of blessing is far from what the Do skill on the stone tablet being learned by Yaroming and the others can compare with. Xiao Yang shut his eyes, but these thoughts swiftly flashed over his heart in the process. Although the current Xiao Yang had just obtained these 3 great Do skills, Xiao Yang was absolutely confident that the Yellow Spring Do skills he could unleash would be many times mightier than Yaroming's Yellow Spring Finger or Yellow Spring Paw. The knowledge that Demon Saint Huang Quan had accumulated throughout his life was not some useless thing. Regardless of how others comprehended the Do skills, it would be very difficult for others to surpass the understanding of the Creator. The Demon Saint Essence blood contains the strength of the Demon Saint Huang Quan. If I am able to absorb it, my strength will soar. A thought passed through Xiao Yang's mind as a drop of golden blood appeared in his palm. The appearance of this drop of blood caused the surrounding area to visibly tremble. Xiao Yang clearly sensed all the energy in a 1,000-foot radius had begun to escape. It is indeed worthy of being the Demon Saint's essence blood since it this overbearing. Xiao Yang involuntarily smiled after sensing his surroundings. This was the first time that he had obtained such an overbearing energy. Even the natural energy around it had been expelled. I will refine it before speaking. Xiao Yang glanced at the 9 serene spring below. He sighed in relief after seeing that nothing unusual was happening. He opened his mouth and exhaled. A flame was spat out, and it wrapped around the drop of golden blood. Although this essence blood could be absorbed under normal circumstances, it was not a bad thing to be cautious at times. The golden blood burned within the heavenly flame for 3 full hours, but not the slightest fluctuation was emitted. It appeared as though the frighteningly high temperature of the heavenly flame did not exist. This refinement continued for around 4 hours before Xiao Yang finally opened his eyes. He widened his mouth and the flame rushed into his mouth with lightning-like speed along with the golden blood. Bang! The clothes on Xiao Yang's body shattered to dust the moment the golden blood entered his body. A frightening energy fluctuation spread from his body, shaking the surrounding abyss rocks until many crack lines formed. Xiao Yang did not have any time to deal with the situation in the outside world. That drop of blood had turned into waves of violent energy that wildly rushed in all directions like an untamed horse. The blood began to go on a crazy rampage within his body. That destructive force was created by an overflowing energy. The energy within the blood was far more violent than Xiao Yang had imagined. This fierce and uncontrolled energy could cause an expert 5-star Dozun's body to explode. Fortunately, however, the current Xiao Yang had far exceeded that level. The change within his body might have caught him off guard, but he quickly calmed his mind down. After which, he began to steadily absorb the energy. Under this perfect control of his, the wild horse-like violent energy also began to once again come under his control. It slowly became gentle under the burning heavenly flame. Finally, traces of it seeped into every part of Lin Dong's body. Xiao Yang sat on the protruding rock. A rich breath of energy was emitted from his nostrils, giving him the appearance of a furious dragon. This energy finally entwined with the air curled and rose before disappearing from this world. This fellow, all of his trainings take such a long time. The little fairy doctor stood at the top of abyss as she looked at the protruding rock where Xiao Yang sat today. She helplessly sighed in a soft voice. It had already been half a month since Xiao Yang had entered his training state. During this half a month, he did not show any signs of awakening. A frighteningly pure energy rippled around him like a cloud. If one were to grab it, it would appear as viscous as water. The little fairy doctor and Qing Lin were naturally able to tell that Xiao Yang was in a critical stage of his training. Hence, They did not speak loudly in order to not disturb Xiao Yang despite uttering words from their mouths. Elder sister Kaylin has also not revealed any activity. Qing Lin's eyes looked at the bottom of the deep abyss as she stated. The continuously boiling lake surface had calmed down a couple of days ago. The entire Nine Serene Spring had regained its old calm. Cai Lin, who was within it, had shown no signs of movement either. Kaylin should be all right. Being a seven-colored heaven-swallowing python, she is just like a fish that has found water in this Nine Serene Spring. The little fairy doctor grinned. She could sense the frighteningly dark and cold energy, which had agglomerated within the Nine Serene Spring for countless of years, gathered to the deepest parts of the lake. The energy was being absorbed into Kaylin's body. Looks like we can only continue waiting. According to what Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming said, it seems that the Heaven Demon Phoenix has begun to show signs of moving, Qing Lin remarked. Xiao Yang should be finishing up soon, the little fairy doctor nodded. Her pretty eyes landed on Xiao Yang, who was seated in a lingering cloud. Xiao Yang was gradually withdrawing his aura. It was likely that he was about to succeed. Qing Lin nodded. She also sat down on a boulder and quietly waited for Xiao Yang's training to finish. Yarrow Ming had already issued an order to seal the area within 10,000 feet from the deep abyss. Other than the two women, no one would come in and disturb the two who were training. Another 2 days quietly passed amid this wait. The viscous cloud that had formed around Xiao Yang suddenly emitted an intense fluctuation as the morning of the third day gradually enveloped the land. The surrounding natural energy seemed to have been dragged by something as it surged out in all directions. Finally, it gathered into an enormous energy storm in the air above Xiao Yang. The edge of this storm was connected to the top of Xiao Yang's head. This unexpected change also woke the little fairy doctor and Qing Lin from their training states. Some surprise flashed across their faces as they observed this unusual phenomenon form. It looks like his training is almost over. Xiao Yang's tightly shut eyes within the cloud were suddenly opened after the little fairy doctor uttered those words. An energy light shot out and penetrated into the wall in front of him, forming 2 black holes of unknown depth. He lifted his head, widened his mouth and violently sucked in. Bang! The 1,000-foot-large energy storm poured down as Xiao Yang sucked. It flowed through his throat and entered his body. As more energy was devoured by Xiao Yang's body, hints of an energy fluctuation began to seep out. The energy cracked the hard stone walls around him, forming countless numbers of huge cracks. Giant rocks were accompanied by a loud rumbling sound as they fell down. Finally, they landed in the deep abyss below. This activity that erupted from the deep abyss naturally attracted the attention of many experts from the Nine Serene deep-ground python tribe. Their faces were startled, but they could only remain 10,000 feet away from the abyss. They were unable to get closer to watch the unusual phenomenon due to the orders Yarrow Ming had issued. A couple rays of light came flashing over from the distance. They appeared above the deep abyss. Yarrow Ming and a couple of very experienced Nine Serene deep-ground python tribe elders were revealed. At this moment, their eyes revealed a shock as they watched Xiao Yang swallow the surrounding energy. What a powerful aura. It is likely that the current Mr. Xiao Yang is fast approaching a second star Dosheng, right? An elder exclaimed. Yarrow Ming shook his head upon hearing guess. He said, the demon saint essence blood might be powerful, but it is not so easy to rise within the Dosheng class. Being able to reach an advanced 1-star Dosheng is not bad. Being an advanced 2-star Dosheng, he clearly understood how difficult it was to rise through each small level. However, being able to soar from an initial 1-star Dosheng to an advanced, this has already exceeded my expectations. Yarrow Ming exclaimed. If he could obtain all of the demon saint essence blood, he would feel confident that he could swiftly raise his strength to the 3rd star of the Dosheng class. However, if it was only a drop, he was only confident he would be able to break through within 3 years. Bang! While Yarrow Ming was conversing with the few elders in the sky, that enormous energy storm was completely swallowed into Xiao Yang's body. After the final trace of energy entered his body, the entire area began to gradually become quiet. A breath that contained a rich energy was slowly exhaled from Xiao Yang's throat. It agglomerated into a liquid that scattered down. This liquid was landed on some huge rocks. Those rocks slowly crystallized and appeared like jade. Haha, congratulations on advancing the advanced 1-star Dosheng class, brother Xiao Yang. Breaking through to the 2-star Dosheng class is only a matter of time. Yarrow Ming quickly descended from the sky after seeing Xiao Yang cease his training. He cupped his hands together and loudly laughed. Xiao Yang politely smiled when he heard Yarrow Ming's congratulating him. He clenched his fist and felt quite satisfied. A drop of the demon saint's essence blood had nearly allowed him to step into the 2nd star of the Dosheng class. This was difficult to imagine. If he had completely devoured all of the essence blood by himself, he could have caught up to Yarrow Ming. Being in possession of a heavenly flame, it refined and helped him absorb most of the energy in the demon saint essence blood. The energy within his body automatically turned into clothes on the surface of his body to replace his shattered clothes after he stood up in the fog. At his level, it was possible for Do Chi to transform into anything with just a mere thought. It looks like Kaylin is still training. Xiao Yang's eyes glanced at the 9 serene spring below. From his perception, he was naturally able to sense the endless dark and cold energy within the 9 serene spring surge to a large creature. That large creature was the 7-colored heaven-swallowing python that Kaylin had transformed into. Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming, has there been any news of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe? Xiao Yang asked with a smile as his eyes landed on Yarrow Ming. Aye. The smile on Yarrow Ming's face was withdrawn upon hearing this question. He slowly nodded before catching Xia Yang up to speed in a deep voice. Based on the information that I have obtained, the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe has dispatched some experts to the Empty Realm to aid the 3 Great Dragon Islands during these few days. They have indeed choose to intervene, Xiao Yang faintly smiled. He was unsurprised by this news. Those from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe possessed evil intentions. They would use any tricks available in order to obtain the Dragon Phoenix blood. Those 3 Great Dragon Islands really ignored everything in order to be victorious. They even invited their enemies into their territory. How many experts has the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe dispatched this time around? Most of those dispatched by the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe this time around are at the doan class. Of course, there are not many people that we need to worry about. There are only 3 that we care about. These 3 are all Grand Elders in the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. They have an extremely ferocious reputation within the magical beast world. Yarrow Ming spoke with a somewhat grave expression. Oh, who are these 3? What is their strength like? Xiao Yang lifted his brow. These 3 Grand Elders are known as the Heaven Demon 3 Phoenix, Feng Huang, Kuan Huang, Ying Huang. Yarrow Ming stated, among them, Feng Huang is an intermediate 2-star dosheng, Kuan Huang is an advanced 1-star dosheng, and Ying Huang is an intermediate 1-star dosheng. 3 doshengs. Xiao Yang's expression slightly changed. It was unexpected that the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe would actually dispatch such a powerful force. From this, one could tell the great strength of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. These fellows had kept a low profile and accumulated quite a lot of strength. Other than the ancient Void Dragon, this Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe was undoubtedly the second ruler of these 3 tribes in the magical beast world. These 3 are extremely powerful. If they combine their strength, they can even fight against a 3-star dosheng. The Eastern Dragon Island will likely be threatened if they are allowed to help the 3 Dragon Islands. Yarrow Ming said. Xiao Yang quietly nodded. Regardless of what the case was, they could not allow the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe to intervene. Otherwise, Ziyang's Eastern Dragon Island would not be able to fight against the 3 large Dragon Islands. When will they move? Xiao Yang slowly exhaled as he inquired in a low voice. Although the lineup of 3 doshengs was powerful, it was not frightening to the extent that Xiao Yang did not dare intervene. Yarrow Ming's eyes twitched upon hearing Xiao Yang's words. His heart was also shocked because of Xiao Yang's boldness. Xiao Yang dared to intervene even when facing 3 doshengs. They will likely move out to head to the Empty Realm in 3 days' time. Xiao Yang gently nodded. His eyes landed on Yarrow Ming as he smiled and asked, does Tribal Chief Yarrow Ming dare to attack and significantly cripple the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe? Yarrow Ming mused for a moment. Finally he laughed and nodded. This was a choice. He needed to choose between the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe and Ziyang's Eastern Dragon Island. Yarrow Xiaotian had chosen the 3 Great Dragon Islands while Yarrow Ming had chosen the Eastern Dragon Island. In that case, we will get moving tomorrow and head to the Empty Realm. We will kill those from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe 3 days later. Xiao Yang faintly smiled upon seeing Yarrow Ming agree. A murderous desire spread from his voice. The next morning, Xiao Yang stood beside the abyss. Both of his hands were placed behind his back. His eyes roamed over the 9 serene spring. Today, they were about to move and head to the Empty Realm to stop the reinforcements of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Xiao Yang, it is about time. We should get moving. The little fairy doctor flew over and landed a short distance away from Xiao Yang before speaking. Aye. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. He waved his sleeve and a majestic spiritual strength spread apart. It turned into a spatial formation that covered the 9 serene spring. He had placed a detection barrier here. It not only protected the 9 serene spring, he would also immediately sense any activity within the barrier. Kaylin, you can just relax and train. This place is the headquarters of the 9 serene deep ground python tribe. Yarrow Ming has already designated this area to be a forbidden ground and has dispatched experts to guard it. You should not be disturbed. You should return to the Falling Star Pavilion after coming out of your retreat. Xiao Yang's mouth moved. A soft sound that was wrapped by Do Chi was transmitted into the 9 serene spring. He ceased hesitating as he turned around and rushed into the distance. The splashing sound of water was emitted from within the 9 serene spring soon after Xiao Yang and the little fairy doctor left. That enormous figure deep inside the spring moved slightly. A huge pair of 7-colored eyes were slowly opened. The snake first lowered her head to look in the direction of the deepest part of the 9 serene spring. There was a special flint flickering in those snake eyes. She had vaguely sensed a vague beckoning ever since she had entered this 9 serene spring. After sensing this for over half a month, she was finally able to confirm that this beckoning was emitted from the bottom of the 9 serene spring. That bottom was not the place where Yaroming was sealed. Instead, it was somewhere even deeper, but even Xiao Yang, who had the protection of the heavenly flame, did not dare to go that far. Although the feeling of being protected is quite nice, I still prefer being stronger than you. This might be a little difficult now, but I must, at the very least, do my best. The 7-colored snake eyes slowly blinked as Cai Lin immediately swung her tail. Her enormous body was accompanied by waves of water as she swiftly hurried to the bottom of the 9 serene spring. Brother Xiao Yang, those people from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will definitely tear a spatial hole from the location of their tribe to enter the empty realm. We can enter it beforehand and sense any spatial fluctuations. Then we will be able to quickly detect their path. Yaroming smiled as he suggested an idea to Xiao Yang while he stood in front of a large hall. Xiao Yang nodded. I will be personally accompanying you this time around. There will also be 6 other elders. Although our numbers are far inferior to the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, we will be able to stop them from fulfilling their mission as long as we can defeat the Heaven Demon 3 Phoenix. Yaroming pointed at the 6 elders behind him as he spoke. Xiao Yang's eyes looked over. There was only one white-haired old man among them who could meet his high standards, but this man was merely an intermediate Ban Sheng. The remaining 5 were only around the 9th change peak of the doan class. At a glance, it was obvious that this lineup was inferior to the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe's lineup. Brother Xiao Yang should not blame me. Yaro Xiaotian and the first elder ground our 9 serene deep ground python tribe into such a miserable state. Yaroming sighed and spoke in a somewhat deep voice. If Yaro Xiaotian and the first elder had supported him without any wild ambitions, there was no telling just how strong the 9 serene deep ground python tribe would be. At the very least, they would not be so much weaker than the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Haha, what is tribal chief Yaroming saying? It is already good that you are willing to lend a hand. Xiao Yang laughed and shook his head. He glanced at the little fairy doctor and Qing Lin by the side. There might still be a great gap between the 2 ladies and the Ban Sheng class despite their training during this period of time, but if they were to cooperate, no one in the Dozun class would be a match for them. They would even be able to barely hold out while facing a Ban Sheng expert. They could be considered a lot of help. It is about time, we should get moving. Yaroming smiled. He hand suddenly waved at empty space that I placed in the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe has a spatial imprint on him. He pulled with both of his hands able to sense the position of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe in this space. Let's go. If they travel from their tribe, did not hesitate they will definitely appear in that area. Ripped open. He took the lead to immediately step into the crack. After which, he shut his eyes and Qing Lin followed close behind. He reopened all remaining elders to the north. I will leave the 9 serene deep ground pythons to all of you during this period of time that I am away. Yaroming stepped through empty space and swiftly rushed forward. Understood. The wild and violent chaotic spatial responded automatically disappeared upon entering within 100 feet from him. We should also get going. The Doshan class. Yaroming nodded after hearing flow within this empty space no longer posed and took a stride into the spatial crack. Xiao Yang waved his hand. Followed him. He led everyone and swiftly finally began to slowly disappear after the last person to the space where the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe vanished from sight. We will definitely sense it if they tear through the space and enter. An extremely intense spatial fluctuation was occasionally being emitted from the black space. He looked into the distant black darkness like ferocious large mouths. Xiao Yang looked around him from the quiet emptiness. Many human figures penetrated through the crack and finally appeared with this dark black space. It will be able to hide us. How far is this place from the entry point of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe? Yaroming turned his head. Xiao Yang looked at Yaroming as Yaroming charged out from the spatial crack and the little fairy doctor also did the same beside him. All that they needed to do was wait until the big fish known as the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe barged into the net they had prepared. The concept of time was extremely blurry within this empty realm. 2 days passed by in the blink of an eye in this unusually dark environment. Soon after that, the space at a spot a great distance from Xiao Yang's group suddenly fluctuated. Many powerful figures slowly stepped through the spatial crack line before appearing in this empty realm. The crack line slowly disappeared as the last person stepped out. 3 people stood at the leader's spot of this group of 20+ people. The remaining gazes that were looking at these leaders' backs were all filled with respect. This operation is unusually important. It concerns whether or not our Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will be able to completely surpass the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Hence, no one should make a mistake. Otherwise, you will face the rules of the tribe. A red-clothed woman spoke among the 3 individuals. Her tone was icy-cold and filled with a majestic aura. This woman was in a red dress. She appeared to be in her 30s, but her aura was so powerful that it was frightening. A pair of somewhat delicate eyebrows bunched together. An evil aura surged from her, causing the two elders beside to take a step away without anyone noticing. We will obey Grand Elder's orders. Those members of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe behind her, who were extremely powerful individuals, did not dare to interrupt this person's cold cry. All of them hurriedly responded in a respectful tone. There were two familiar faces among these people. One was naturally Feng Qing who had formed many grudges with Xiao Yang, while the other was Ju Feng, who had exchanged blows with Xiao Yang. He was also known as a potential successor to the tribal chief of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. The two of them possess a high status in the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, but they appeared extremely respectful in front of that red-robed woman's fierce aura. They did not dare to slight her. Ancient Void Dragon, it is unexpected that this day has actually come. My Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will end up prospering once your civil war ends. At that time, I will completely eliminate your tribe from this world. The red-robed woman laughed with a somewhat sharp, wicked voice. She immediately waved her sleeve. A wind surged and her body turned into a ray of light that rushed into the distance like a meteorite. The many experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe hurriedly followed behind her. Xiao Yang, who was seated within the chaotic spatial flow in a far location, suddenly opened his eyes the moment that red-robed woman hurried forward. Yao Ming on the other side also opened his eyes. They exchanged glances as a faint smile lifted onto their faces. Prepare yourselves. Those from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe are about to arrive. This video will end here.